Well, you've made it. We've reached the end of this series. Now I need to confess my politics, compliment Barack Obama, and hope to keep a few friends anyway. At my core, I'm not a political person. I don't enjoy the process. I don't trust the players. I don't believe much of what they say, and you're probably similar. Many of us are fed up with politics, yet we still have a privilege and a duty to exercise the franchise. We vote. I do not want to vote my biases. I want to vote my deeply held convictions. I cannot escape my bias as a Jew or my faith as a Christian. But my biases have led me to make some bad voting choices. I'm one of the few people that you probably know who would admit to voting for both Richard Nixon and Jimmy Carter. What's up with that? Clearly, I was young and still needed to narrow my grid. And so I have. I realized that no one should get my vote simply because of their religion. I do see life through the grid of a Jewish Christian's worldview, so perhaps that's why Israel is so important to me. But I voted for Jimmy Carter because he was a Christian. And still, Carter has been so wrong on Israel that I think he's an embarrassment to God. I mean, Carter even supported the rights of a woman to have an abortion. I'm ashamed. And he nearly bankrupted us too. He was a mess in every way. Well, except maybe he was saved. But from now on, unless it is a vote on a church matter in a church setting, a man's religion is not enough to win or lose my vote. So, how do I decide for whom to vote these days? Well, a man's commitment to Israel does weigh very heavily on my mind. But nothing changes the fact that I am a single-issue voter. As a voting citizen, I've decided to throw everything in one direction. I've already confessed that as a youth, I was responsible for the murder of an innocent infant. And this brings me to the compliment I promised for Barack Obama. I'm reminded of one of the wisest things he ever said. He spoke, we need fathers to recognize that responsibility doesn't just end at conception. From those words, it seems obvious that he understood that both life and fatherhood begin at conception. I wish his actions served to protect the unborn, but they did not. Whenever an election comes around, and they come around pretty regular, it's easy for me to decide how to vote. I always vote for the candidate who's most willing to defend the defenseless. I prefer the candidate most committed to give voice to those without a voice. I stand with whoever stands against the Holocaust of abortion. In Nazi Germany, very few heroes sacrificed to stop the killing. In the Holocaust, my people were without defense. We were without a voice. Before I knew Jesus, nobody spoke to defend my innocent child, and I was unwilling to sacrifice my own comfort. As a result, one more child sacrificed was offered on a padded, well-lit, sanitized altar to the pagan god of pleasure. I regret that more than I can describe. My own voiceless, defenseless baby had done no wrong, but was doomed. I fear that just as the God of the Bible judged my people for sacrificing our children to pagan gods many centuries ago, our nation will also be judged for the same sin. Therefore, I pray that American Christians and Jews will take a stand for life in our day. Someday, it will be clear that abortion was the watershed issue of our nation's history. So let me be clear about my politics. If a candidate is right on taxes, right on defense, right on foreign policy, but wrong on life, he cannot be my candidate. I would rather be poor, defeated, or downtrodden than to make the same mistake again that I made in 1970. My guilt has been forgiven and my sins cleansed at the cross. This makes my politics simple. If a candidate is wrong on every political issue dear to me, but unflinching in determination to protect the unborn, I hope our prayers are with that candidate. Jesus died to give us life. Fight for life, not money. There's always ways to make more money. The government prints it faster than it can be counted. But the taking of a human life cannot be undone. Abortion stops a beating heart. Well, maybe that's not the cutest bumper sticker, but every baby deserves a chance to live. Choose life. The land cries out for the blood that was shed. Pray for the unborn and pray for those who still struggle with the pain of abortion. You know, some women or men may have hidden their indiscretions from their families. They might have made decisions in their youth that have plagued them throughout their lives and kept them from having honest, open relationships with their loved ones. Today could be their turning point. If a loved one decides to clear the slate and unveil a horrible fact, please let forgiveness be abundant. It will probably change their life if they can be permitted to be free from the sin they have hidden. And someday, you'll also need to find forgiveness. Granting it in advance is the best way to find it when needed most. May the Lord turn our hearts toward truth, and may truth lead our lives and our nation. As is common here, I will also ask you to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. They shall prosper that love thee. Till next we meet, from all of us here at CrossTalk International and the Hatikva Film Trust, Shalom and God bless you.
It's time to say goodbye to a world that I never got to live in. Goodbye.
Hitler killed out of our nation 1.5 million children. And Israel, in the 60 years of her existence, has killed 2 million babies through abortion.
By legalizing abortion in 1967, we turned abortion from an individual sin into a national sin, and the whole nation is implicated.
The most unsafe place for a child to be is in a mother's womb.
It affects everybody. There's no one that's not affected by abortion.
And I believe that we as advocates on behalf of the unborn child must do all that we can to say this is precious human life.
If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, forgive their sin, and heal their land. That promise is just as good today as it was when it was spoken.